Bacteria. Bacteria are prokaryotes. They are single-celled organisms that replicate by binary fission. They have roughly 1% of the volume of a human cell. They live on all of our surfaces and in our digestive tract. Recent estimates claim that our bodies have approximately equal numbers of bacterial cells and human cells. And here's a picture, a little tough to see all the words, but those are the various types of bacteria that live in different parts of human bodies. Most bacteria on our bodies are helpful or neutral, and the immune system ignores them because they are actually part of self. In contrast, pathogenic bacteria grow where they don't belong, and the immune system recognizes them as non-self. When people accidentally cut themselves, bacteria penetrates the skin. The body mounts an immune response to the foreign bacteria, which may be harmless on the skin, but can cause problems inside the body. Bacteria pathogens are eliminated by both innate immune responses and adaptive immune responses. The adaptive immune response to bacteria is dominated by antibodies, which are produced by the B cells. They work with the innate immune system and then the T helper cells to kill bacteria that cause disease. An immune response might begin when phagocytic cells of the innate immune system recognize the bacteria as foreign or non-self. They engulf it and digest it. The phagocytic cells then release proteins over here that start inflammation, the pain, redness, heat, and swelling, and call other white blood cells to the site of infection to help fight the bacteria. If the innate immune system doesn't clear the bacteria, then the adaptive immune system will go to work. The diagram shows B cells fighting a new bacterial infection. So it starts over here, moves on down in this direction. So let me just go ahead and erase that. And we're going to describe these steps in the next few slides. So you may have to pause and come back to take a look at this picture again. So here are the words that go with the diagram on the previous slide. Macrophages are phagocytic cells that act as APCs. At the infection site, they phagocytose bacteria, digest them, and present bacterial antigens on their surfaces. In the lymph nodes, the APCs, T helper cells, and B cells come together. The T helper cells that bind to the presented bacterial antigens will become activated and release lymphokines. B cells and T cells with receptors that bind to the bacterial antigens will respond to the lymphokines and fight that specific bacteria. Remember, the adaptive system is very specific as to what it works on. B cells will produce bacteria-specific antibodies. Over time, the antibody response becomes more specific and powerful. Some B cells become plasma cells, cell factories that release lots of specific antibodies into the bloodstream. Antibodies in the bloodstream coat the surfaces of bacterial cells. This neutralizes and makes them targets for phagocytes in the process of antibody-dependent cell-mediated cytotoxicity, or ADCC. After the infection is under control, the antibodies persist for weeks, and memory B cells and memory T cells persist for years, providing lasting immunity to that specific type of bacteria. Tuberculosis is a disease caused by the rod-shaped bacterium, Mycobacterium tuberculosis. While tuberculosis can cause damage to the lungs, the infection may also spread to other tissues and cause more severe illness. The bacterium is transmitted from one person to another via tiny airborne droplets containing sputum, known as spit, when an infected person coughs, sneezes, or spits. A small amount of sputum can cause infection when inhaled. Infected people may seem healthy, but they can still infect others. The symptoms begin a few months after infection and include fatigue, weight loss, and a cough caused by the bacteria reproducing in the lungs. If it is not treated, the long-term impacts of tuberculosis can include lung damage. M. tuberculosis is phagocytosed by macrophages, but macrophages cannot digest the bacteria because the bacteria inhibit normal macrophage functions. Rather, the bacteria reproduces inside the macrophages. Because the bacteria are not digested, macrophages are not able to present the M. tuberculosis antigens to T helper cells, and the adaptive immune response is suppressed. This electron micrograph of an infected macrophage has been enhanced with color. The M. tuberculosis cells are shown in green. A combination of 4 antibiotics, when taken for at least 6 months, can completely cure an active tuberculosis infection. Unfortunately, some strains of TB are not killed by the antibiotics used at first. Approximately 7% of patients have to be treated with a higher dose or with a second treatment with 4 different antibiotics. And here's some more information on that if you'd like to check that out on the web. Many bacterial diseases can be prevented by following proper hygiene practices in all areas of life, and here's some ideas. Keep farm animals away from freshwater sources. Their urine and feces may carry pathogenic bacteria. Avoid contact with bodies of fresh water that could be contaminated with sewage or runoff from farms. Practice hygiene with coughing and sneezing. Cough and sneeze into the crook of your elbow, not into your hands. Remove shoes before entering home. Wash hands frequently. Wash vegetables thoroughly before eating, and store food safely to discourage rodents in the home.